To the Wednesday LiveStream from Dulcimer Crossing, November 30th, the very end of the month of November, and we've begun the season of Advent in the Christian world. Other holiday celebrations are just behind us or coming up. So this is that time of year when there are lots of favorite tunes that run through our heads, and I want to talk today about how do we play the songs we know? How do we find these songs? And so that's what I'd like to focus our attention on today. And there we go. Nope, that's not today's video. I want to see on the other page, I want to maybe make sure I'm seeing your, let's refresh that. So while I'm doing this, think of some songs that you already know, the music that is music for you. When I say that is I was able to play the things that were on, I could play the things that were in books. I could play numbers when I first started playing both kinds of dulcimer. It was 1980 when I built my first mountain dulcimer, and didn't quite understand how it worked. And I found a book and started playing what was in the book, and they were not necessarily tunes I knew, but I could make music. And people always said this was an accessible instrument. Actually, what they said was easy. I don't say easy. Either instrument, it's not easy, but very accessible. And that's what I want to focus on today. So we're going to start with a hammered dulcimer today. So let me change my camera view. And let's remove the lower scene there so we can see what's here. Now, on a hammer dulcimer, things are laid out in boxes. And that looks like it might be a little bit overexposed. I'm not sure there's anything I can do about that. But I'm going to start in this is the D box here, this white marker. And then I have two dark markers. And then I have a white one. And if I cross over on the other side, two dark ones and a white one. Those represent the steps of a major scale. And songs never use all the tones that are available to them. They tend to use certain notes out of a scale. And so let's pick a tune. Let's pick a tune. This is the I'm now working at a church as a interim music director and choir director, and we're looking at some holiday music. So Away in the Manger is one of those tunes. There are several, at least three different tunes that are used for this song, but so two of them start on the fifth step of the scale. This is a very jumpy tune, but it starts on the fifth and goes down. And I'm playing very horizontally. The other tune, and this is what's in the anthem, very linear, also a major tune. So understanding how this works on your instrument is really going to be the key to how I can play the song I know. So I'm starting on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth step. If I'm going to the first one, away in a manger, no pig for a bed, a little Lord Jesus laid down. Now, that's a very jumpy example, but it is one that's common for a lot of people. Maybe not you, or maybe not everybody, but let's do this on the baritone dulcimer just because I feel like the nice rich tones. So let's try to turn that. So there we go. The fifth step of the scale here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I know this is the fifth step of the scale, but it went below Do, and Do was open, so I had to go over to the middle string and walk down. Third fret on the middle string is the same as the open string when I'm tuned this way, a 158, or this happens to be an AEA, I believe. Oh, no, did I do? Is this B flat? No, it's more B. It's a little flat B. Okay. I had to tune it differently because I was doing some singing. But this started on the fifth step of the scale. Now the middle string is also the fifth step. And then I ran out of notes. I can't go lower, which is why I started here. Now if I was going to use that other melody, now if I wanted to do it in the higher register, I'd start where I started the other one. Now, did you notice that I used two different patterns? One went across this way and one went up and down this way. Just like on the hammered dulcimer, I did one that was in the box and horizontally this way, and one that went that way. Both ways to get a major melody. Now that was a song where we started on the fifth step of the scale. Let's pick one where we don't start there. Let's start on a different step of the scale. And I think I'm gonna go back to A. Jolly Old St. Nicholas starts on the third step of the scale. 1, 2, 3. Now this is the second fret, but I'm counting 0 as my first step of the scale. So jolly old St. Nicholas, lean your ear this way. Don't you tell a single soul what I'm going to say. Christmas Eve is coming soon. Now you dear old man, whisper what you'll bring to me. Tell me if you can. Now, both of these tunes have something in common, and that is we start somewhere that's not Do, we go below Do and above Do and end on Do. Those kind of tunes are called plagal tunes, and I'm going to type that into our comments because they are centered on Do. Let's see how that looks on the hammer dulcimer. So I'm using a couple of different things. I'm learning what I know about scales and where I know the steps are on my instruments to help me with this. So it didn't go much below and didn't go much above, but it did do it that way. Now watch, I'm doing straight up and down, but I'm going to cross this time. So I could do it in a box this way or straight up and down and go a little bit below. And the same thing could happen over here. I did it in the boxy way, but if you have this lower box down here, this is the A box. I can go up, I can go straight up and down, I can go in the box. So I understand both how the song sounds, and I understand where I can look on my instrument for these things. Now, both of these are very boxy or jumpy melodies. They're not linear, and so they're a little more challenging. So, and they're both major. Let's find a major melody that is very within. It's very linear. It just walks. Joy to the World is one of those. Starts at the top of the box. Everything there has been a neighbor note. Now here we have big jump, skip. Everything in there was a note that touched the note next to it until it was time for that big jump. Neighbor, 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 neighbor. Now there's a jump here. Neighbor, 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 neighbor. Neighbor, 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 neighbor. Jump, skip, neighbor, neighbor, neighbor. On the mountain dulcimer, that was in D, and this time will be in A. But if I stop at the top of the scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Going horizontally in the lower octave, starting at the top of Do being open, has me do that. So that's one where it's very linear and all the notes are neighbor notes. That was one that started on do and immediately went down. Now, let me ask if you have any particular holiday songs. I'm just leaving it in this because this is where our attention can be at this time of year, that you can sing this in the shower. You can sing it while you're shopping or while you're shoveling the walk, like I just got done doing. What is a tune that you'd like to play that you like? Pick one you like. Don't pick one you don't like. That makes it harder. We've started on one that starts on the 5th step of the scale. We've started on one that starts on the 3rd step of the scale. We've started one that starts on the 7th or 8th, 8th step of the scale. There we get all the fingers we need. 1 and 8 are the same note name, but top or bottom of the scale, do and do. We started one on sol and one on mi. Oh, one just came to mind. Bring a torch, Jeanette Isabella. 5 1 1 7 1 2 3 4 3 2. Let's see if that's right. Another play go when it went below do. But it went from 5 1 1 7 5 1 2 3 4 3 2 5 1 1 7 1 2 3 2 1. I'm doing these Arabic numbers to talk about steps of the scale. White Christmas. You broke out your arrangement of Count Your Blessings. Nice. Okay. Here we got some chromatic stuff here too. Dreaming, I need dreaming. So the chromatic instrument strikes again. That would be possible to play on a mountain dulcimer with a 1.5 and a 6.5 fret, because and it's only that first bit that needs that. So I'm at the 2nd fret here for the F sharp, 1.5 for the F natural, G sharp, So the chromatic dulcimer strikes again, but that is one of those tunes that shows up. How about Silver Bells was one of my mother's favorite ones. starts at do at the top, just like Joy to the World. And it skips. Now we go all the way up to the third, which is F sharp. It needed the G sharp and the F natural. The same way that, no, it didn't need the F natural. It just needed the G sharp. But let's do that on the hammer dulcimer. Whoa, forgot to change my camera. Nice look at my foot. I'm adding in other stuff. I've obviously played that one before, but it needs that one special note, which is sometimes what happens when we go looking for the tunes. True. A different song, yes. But what I would urge you to do is when you are looking to play the song that you love, that you know in your head, you may not find everything right off the bat on your instrument, but find all the parts you can. Don't give up because there's one or two notes that are giving you a headache and say this can't be done. Do the amount you can. I will show, this is from my Advent evening prayer service. Abide with me. This instrument does not have, this is my first mountain dulcimer, the one I built in 1980. Let's see if I can get, there we go. You'll notice there are no extra frets. There's no 1.5, there's no 6.5. There's a note in there I don't have. I don't have the G sharp, and I'd have to bend to get it. But in a hymn, in an evening prayer service, the bent note in this song didn't really fit the character of the song. So I did a dulcimer workaround. And singers will automatically put in the one that goes there, and what I'm playing works with that. It doesn't get in the way of it. It actually supports it. And so that, and if I'd just given up because I didn't have that one note, I would never have worked out the I'd never worked out the beautiful suspensions and everything that happens in that arrangement. But there was one note that my instrument did not have. And when I first started playing, threw me completely off. On the hammer dulcimer, the notes are all here. They're just not in the order I'm looking for them. Now, today, we're looking at tunes that are all major mode tunes. And on the hammer dulcimer, if the marks are the bounds of the major scales, on the mountain dulcimer, the 0 fret, the middle string, 0 fret, are the top and bottom of the scale. And we'll have to look next week at some minor mode tunes and see where we find those on both instruments. But the reality is, if it's in me, if it's in my head, if it's in my heart, if it's in some part of my fingers, even if I've forgotten some part of it, I can put that on my instrument. And that, especially at this season when there's so many songs that people know at least one verse of, because there is the tradition of Christmas caroling where you go to people's doors and you don't have anything written down, or you might have something written down, but it's so dark or the snow is falling and you can't see it that you just kind of hum along with everybody, right? And some of those songs may be more difficult to play, but they're not that difficult to sing. So the task here is, how do we get the thing which we can sing, but maybe not play yet? May not play, comma, yet. Always put a comma yet at the end of that sentence. Means that there's an opportunity to work on it and figure it out in the future. So that's what today is about, is finding those tunes. And next week, we'll look at some minor mode tunes, which are a little harder because we don't use them as much. That's the main reason. We sing them, but we don't play because we tend to use our instruments in the major way. We live in this era where that's been the thing. Back in the Greek times, the major things were only for parties. If you were doing other things, they needed some gravitas, and they didn't want to do anything that was light and frivolous. Now, I want to show you, let's see, here we go. I'm excited. I want to show you this first. Carmen Amrine she's added tremolo hammering techniques for the hammered dulcimer. She's introduced the Hochbrett to us. She comes to us from München, or well, actually, she's not in München. That's where she studied, but she's from southern Germany, and I'm editing her pizzicato, or pick 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 technique lessons right now. So there will be a new course coming from her, and I also want to let you know that to get ready for this, coming up in March is 4 Equidistant Dulcimer Day. And if you go here, you can find this page where we tune the strings. You can see in the picture here 4 equidistance tunings. And so on March 11th, all day, we're going to have a workshop. And Lewis and I are hosting this. We've got a wonderful, we're still doing some construction on the webpage, but I want you to be able to see it. Aubrey Atwater, Leo Kretzner, Thomasina Levy, Bradley Ellis, Sue Carpenter, Grant Olson are all people who make a lot of use of this 4-string playing method. And that you can meet them. You can find out, if you have a question, what is a 4 equidistant string dulcimer? And there it is. There's the comparing and all that kind of stuff. It's taken a while for that to load. And at the bottom of the home page is, if you go to the bottom of the page, these are taking a while to load. Show the sign up form, click, add your name, and we'll give you the updates. So the website is ready for you to do that at this time. But that's what I have for us today, friends. Thank you for joining in. And even more than that, thank you for adding the beauty of the music you love to your world, because that makes everything better. And I'm grateful that you do that. And I will sign off and see you next week. Bye.